Good morning. This is the House Appropriations Committee. It's Thursday, May 7th, 2026. It is just after 10:45, and we are here to hear a bill, S-243. What do I have? The agenda that doesn't have the content. Oh, that's next week's agenda. No wonder I'm confused. S-243, which is an act relating to distributing funds for the Language Justice Project. And so this came from the Senate and then went to House Human Services, and now we have it. So Rep. Garofano, welcome. Introduce yourself and tell us why we're here.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. Ray Garofano. I represent Essex and Essex Junction, Vice Chair of Human Services. Thank you for hearing about this great bill. So we got this from the Senate, as the chair mentioned, and it's a bill about this unbelievable organization that we have in Vermont that does this very unique thing that nobody else in the country does. So the organization is a Vermont Language Justice Project, and they have the capacity and the ability to translate and make short videos about public health or other emergencies in various different languages that are spoken in Vermont. And they have demonstrated that they can have a 24-hour turnaround, which I think we would all agree in a public health emergency or a natural disaster is really critical for folks who don't speak the language and can't access the information that comes through the various state agencies in English. This organization had been getting a lot of funding through the health department through a CDC grant that ended recently, about a year ago. And since then, they haven't been getting requests to make a lot of these videos. So when we got the bill from the Senate, it had an appropriation of $150,000 to go to the health department so they can contract with this organization to make these videos when needed. And as we got it, we started doing some investigation and realized that there's, the body, we appropriated some funding a few years ago to the Office of Racial Equity for purposes such as this, for translation services to get information, public health information out to communities in Vermont. So we realized maybe we don't need to spend any extra money because there's already money there at the Office of Racial Equity. And we heard testimony from the Office of Racial Equity and the Department of Emergency Management that part of the challenge is that the Vermont Language Justice Project is not part on the list of approved state contractors currently, which means that anytime they would need to be used, they would have to go through an RFP process to be able to hire. So we determined that the best course would be to take out the appropriation and really instruct the two state agencies, the Office of Racial Equity, who holds the funding, and the Office of Emergency Management that does a lot of these contracts, and BGS, to assist the Vermont Language Justice Project to actually become an approved state contractor. So then they can be accessed immediately in such emergencies. So that's the version that we passed out. And, it was one of those things that I think had we had some time and capacity, maybe on the Senate side, and I know that they have a lot going on, but maybe some conversations would have been helpful before kind of drafting a bill to kind of figure out, what can we do? How can we work with the administration to make sure that we're utilizing this really critical service and utilizing funding that we've already appropriated. So that's our version that went out, and we didn't realize it needed to come to you all because we took the money out.
Was ever there, whatever a whiff,
we took it out.
We still have to appropriate it.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
so that's why we have the
That's the
amendment.
gist of it.
Okay.
And, our committee was very supportive, and, it is really an important organization and they do really critical work. So we want to ensure that Vermonters who don't speak English have access to this really important information in those times.
If there's a flood or there's some
Yeah.
emergency, you can't wait to do an RFP and 4 months or get a contract.
Yeah.
Floods now. Yeah, okay, great. So that's the bill. Any questions from anybody in the committee? Lynn?
Do you have any numbers on how many people have taken advantage of this over the years?
So I can tell you that they have, I have this here somewhere, hold on. I don't have the number of people, but so they work, 200, they have produced over 250 unique public service videos in as many as 18 to 22 languages. And one piece of information that we found fascinating is we heard from Hunger Free Vermont that also helps push out some of these videos out to their network, that because they make these videos in English and all these other languages, the data shows that the English language videos are actually accessed the most, which is really telling that even Vermonters who speak English are really benefiting from this service. And because I think the videos are really easily accessible and digestible and done in a plain way where people can really understand the content rather than some of the more public health announcements that come out. Right?
So when they make their videos, do they do them captions in both English and the other, whatever language that they're trying to do? Because my thinking is, we watch TV with captions all the time, right? So I would think this would be a good opportunity to help them learn English so that if they saw the similar kinds of warnings in English someplace, they would recognize and be able to read them.
Yeah, and I don't know the answer to that specific question. Happy to follow up and happy to give that feedback to them if they don't already do it.
Yeah, I just looked them up because I'm very familiar with this project. So just in answer to your question, Lynn, this was published in 2025 in January. They've had 300,000 plus views and have 2,000 plus subscribers, and there are 180 plus service providers that are on their list, get it, and then disseminate the messages. And this was, I know the director, she's a constituent. And she did initial videos during COVID, and they were essential. There was nothing. We were so unprepared, to provide information to folks who didn't speak English, at least in certain communities. So it is very broadly, and it's WhatsApp is really what they use, and that's where people are getting their information. So anyway.
I think another really cool thing, sorry to interrupt, is that the director of the organization, the founder, is a filmmaker. So she's like really able to, that's her background. And the fact that they have this very quick turnaround. And then also other states, because they're the only ones in the country that are doing this work, other states are now reaching out and contracting with them to do some of this work on their behalf. So it's
an economic development going on.
Yeah.
Great. Mike, did you have a question or comment?
Just a little piece of information that more than 31,000 Vermont residents speak a language other than English. And this is AI here giving us this. And
you're trailing wings.
Residents indicated they do not speak English very well, and I would suggest that in an emergency, people who don't speak English very well can use this help.
Right. When you're stressed, you go back to whatever your natural native language is.
Which is the most common second language.
French.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
They didn't give us any help at all.
Probably even knows a few.
I learned a lot of bad words on the bus.
Yeah. That will be for later. And you got other questions for Ray? Go ahead.
Active before COVID, or was something that happened afterwards?
I believe she started after COVID, during COVID, is when she had the idea to do this work, yeah.
Yeah, because I remember in Winooski, there was a whole cluster of COVID cases with people who were non-English speaking.
Because they didn't know what was happening.
Yeah, they couldn't.
And you could spread it.
Information disseminated.
Yeah.
And they've been collaborating through, since COVID, very closely with, the Office of Racial Equity to kind of identify where the needs and the gaps have been. And again, have been really instrumental in getting the information out to the affected populations.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, is that why it was in the Department of Health?
Because of COVID.
COVID,
mean,
yeah.
that's where it
Started at COVID, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that's why now emergency management, because now we have flooding,
Other emergencies.
and other emergencies that aren't just health. Yeah, that makes sense. Great. Well, I know we have Katie coming and we can have Nolan go next. But Katie and Ray, thank you for coming down, Rep. Garofano, and field and yeah. See you later. Thank you.
Where is Ann now? Great.
On the record. You're on the record.
We're on the record and Katie just walked through the door, but maybe you should still go first so Katie has a chance to take 2 breaths before we start with, we're doing a little bit out of order, but it all works out fine.
For the record, Nolan Langwell, Joint Fiscal Office. Before I go to the fiscal note, I actually want to pull up the language real quick and highlight. I don't want to steal Katie's thunder, but the section 1 is just defining. The section 2, as Representative Garofano talked about how the bill, when it passed the Senate, had $150,000 appropriation. They stripped out the appropriation, and then they added language saying Office of Racial Equity in consultation with Department of Public Service shall contract with Vermont Language Project to prepare information materials, et cetera, et cetera. What it does is it says it shall contract, but it doesn't say with what money, where the money coming from, et cetera. So we'll have some recommendations on how to clean that up a little bit. In the findings, they talk about how there was some money that was appropriated in fiscal year in 2024 budget. It included a one-time general fund appropriation of $2.3 million to the AOA, which, by the way, is what houses the Office of Racial Equity, to create and implement and oversee a comprehensive statewide language access plan. And then we know as of January 26, the report on the general fund carry forward and reversions, it showed that they had roughly $2 million remaining at that time. Last, Grady had reached out to them recently. They had they still had about 1.7 million, but it didn't take into consideration any other invoices that would be outstanding. That said, the thing I just want to say is that the money exists. There is money to cover this appropriation out of that carry forward. But what the language currently doesn't make it clear that that's where the money to pay for this would come from. So Katie will talk to you about some remedies for that.
Okay, and you'll stick around if we have other questions.
Yeah.
Great.
And there is a fiscal note, but
There is a fiscal
I just said everything that it's in.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, dollar amounts haven't changed.
Dollar amounts haven't changed, and I just feel like
We have a ways to get it. Doesn't involve the general fund, so we're happy about that.
correct.
Thank you, Nolan. So Katie, we got your second. We want to look at draft 2.1 for the amendment, which should be posted on our website. So review 2.1, not 1. Okay. Welcome, Katie. Running around. I hope we'll get a little break after this. We won't keep you to lunch.
You're all keeping me on my toes. Okay, I'm logging into Zoom and then I'll share this.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you.
Okay. Here is draft 2.1. The House of Clerks amendment. It's instances of amendment, which I know can be frustrating if you don't have both documents open side by side, so I apologize for that. First, in section 2 of the underlying human services report, there's lead-in language that in fiscal year 2027, the Office of Racial Equity, in consultation with the Department of Public Safety's Division of Emergency Management, shall contract with the Vermont Language Justice Project. The proposal in the first instance of amendment is just to swap out Department of Health instead of Office of Racial Equity. So the contracting is happening by the Department of Health. The second instance of amendment is adding 2 new sections of the bill. The first section is a reversion, and I'm guessing you and Nolan probably know a lot more about this reversion than I do. But this is 150,000, and it looks like you're moving it so you can use it elsewhere. And then section 4 is the appropriation itself. In fiscal year 27, 150,000 is appropriated from the general fund to the Department of Health for a grant to the Vermont Language Justice Project to prepare information materials for Vermonters who speak languages other than English in the event of a disease outbreak, natural disaster, or other public health emergency. And then on page 2, that line that we're renumbering the remaining sections. So we don't want to forget about that or lose that one.
That's right. So what happens is, just to remind everybody, there's carry forward in the Office of Racial Equity. So it's a two-step process. The first is we have to revert the money. That's the correct term, to the general fund. And then we appropriate that money that's in the general fund to Department of Health for this particular grant. So that's the two-step process. I'm loving it. Showing fiscals. I mean. So any questions on how that works? Anything, Nolan, that we've missed here? So we added, we had, the original First Amendment didn't have Department of Health. Oh, and here's mine. So we'll see.
That number's the DEP ID. The account.
Yes, the language access plan. And they have about 1.8 million in that.
But they had 1.8 million at the last time we checked, but we don't know about any outstanding invoices.
Okay, right. But if they had 1.8, probably there's still
Yeah, I
150.
think there's gonna be sufficient.
Okay. So this would normally be yours, but you've missed the whole thing. So we can talk afterwards about whether you want somebody else to do it or you want to do it, but so this is, what we're doing is the 150,000
Right,
is being,
amending it.
we're
Coming it from-
we're reverting the money, some of the money in the carry forward, in the Office of Racial Equity to the general fund, and then appropriating that 150 to the Department of Health for the grant to do the work. So it's a two-step process because we're reverting money.
Right, how do we technically do that now that we pass the budget?
Doesn't matter, the budget doesn't matter. This is outside of the budget.
New money.
I mean, I know it's the same money.
No, the carry forward, it isn't in the budget because it's
Right,
carried
right.
forward in the Office of Racial Equity.
Right.
So the budget isn't affected by
Okay.
it at all.
Okay, yeah.
It's all
I
internal.
mean, I know that's what we're doing.
Right, but there's no budget impact.
Okay.
So that's good news.
Yes.
Lynn,
Okay, I'm confused. It was in the Department of Health. Then it went to the Office of Racial Equality under the A of A. And now it's going back to the Department of Health?
So, from Nolan, I went to this clause. Carry forward is in the office, in the AOA. The Office of Racial Equity is housed in the AOA, so it wasn't, the carry forward is there. The underlying bill talked about the Office of Racial Equity initially. This changes to the health department to do this work, because that's where a lot of the work is done. And the money would revert the money back and then appropriate that money to the health department. So taking it from the AOA, carry it forward and putting it to the health department. And then the other part is just cleanup.
and it's appropriate to be doing this because the money that was in the carry forward was exactly for these kinds of things, but now this is the right department to see it through.
So they'll be, the Department of Health will be the ones that will do the contracting out.
Yes.
Put them on the
Right,
list to make
right.
it so we can.
ORE is simply allowing us to transfer 150,000 out of their carry forward, which would normally be used for that. There's no work that they have to do at all on their end.
And to clarify your point, the carry forward was specific to the AOA's language access project.
Right. So it was for the same kinds of purposes.
Same kinds of purposes, didn't have this fits within the.
So will the language access project now go back to the Department of Health or go to the department?
They'll continue to have that, we're just taking money out of the carry forward from that. For this particular thing, but the language access project will remain.
Will remain there.
We're not moving
Right,
that
we're not moving that
We're
project at
just
all.
taking some of the carry forward from that for this.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
They didn't spend all their money, some was carried forward.
We gave it to them to be used over a period of years. And there's, yeah, some federal compliance and things that had to be done, so we gave the money.
Original intent was
Yes.
to carry forward.
Yes, yes, that was the intent. Nothing surprising about that. I would have been surprised if there wasn't any money left. That's what I would have been surprised about.
I'm sorry, I'm being,
You have to call the next.
scarce.
So I think we have what we need from you, Katie. And anybody have any more other questions? Are you good, Artie, on this?
No, I have reviewed it.
Okay, okay. All right, thank you. So I would entertain a motion. We're on the amendment first. We have the two votes to approve our committee amendment draft 2.1. That's 243. John, Dave, you guys can be next time.
John Wayne.
Yeah, well, Wayne Lynn this time. Again,
Wayne.
got different pairings. Okay, so if the clerk is ready, let's call roll on the amendment.
Representative Blumenle,
Yes.
Representative Dickinson,
Yes.
Representative Phelps,
Yes.
Representative Kaczynski,
Yes.
Representative Roche,
Yes.
Representative Rovicki,
Yes.
Representative Nigel,
Yes.
Representative Squirrel, yes, Representative Stephen.
Yes.
Representative Yakavoni,
Yes.
and Representative
Yes.
11-0-0 on the amendment.
And then I'll entertain a motion to pass S 243 out. How do you say?
Passed the Senate and amended by House Human Services and further amended by House Appropriations.
That? Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Lynn. Second? Yes. Okay, good. Any further discussion on the bill? Seeing none? Or can I call the roll, please?
Representative Blumenle,
Yes.
Representative Dickinson,
Yes.
Representative Phelps,
Yes.
Representative Kaczynski,
Yes.
Representative Roche, yes, Representative Rovicki,
Yes.
Representative Nigel,
Yes.
Squirrel, yes, Representative Stephen,
Yes.
Representative Yakavoni,
Yes.
Yes.
11-0.
Thank you, Nolan. Lauren, are you comfortable reporting?
Well.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So we'll have Marty do it. Thank you for being back up too. We're sure you're gonna get back on time.
No,
Somebody who
that's fine.
actually voted to do it.
That's
so.
fine.
Okay. So great. Thank you very much. We've passed the bill. I don't know. We will have more bills coming, but I don't know when. We don't have anything being referred. Just see if there's checking today's calendar. I haven't heard about anything being pulled off notice.
The optometry bill is coming eventually.
Yes, S 64, I believe is gonna come. Oh, that might be pulled off the menu. The menu of bills. I don't know. I guess, I'm trying to remember. if I heard any-
Week of ops, it's in the box.
35A from Betsy Ann. Let me just check on the clerk. Not seeing anything being pulled off the notice calendar at the moment, so, but I was under the impression that that was gonna come to us, but maybe they're just not pulling it off the notice calendar. It might just be on the calendar and then it comes to us, but I think it may be coming to us. And there'll be some others. The CTE bill is still going around. That's in House. I think it's still in House Ed, and then that would go to Ways and Means and eventually come to us. I think it's S 313 is the number of the CTE bill. Came out of Commerce last week. So, and there'll be others scattered. We'll just see where they all land. But committees, I think, have been told to really like by next Tuesday, they ought to be getting all their bills out, so they can make their way through the other committees, so we can.
So you're gonna get a big dump. That's it.
Well, we won't in this committee. I mean, even if we do, it's gonna be pretty quick. We can,
The floor will.
the floor might, but it's not gonna be like the bills we had before crossover.
Won't be a dump like that.
No, but I think we can manage 4 bills a day if we have to, and they'll be pretty quick. As soon as I know anything, I'll let you know. But I don't have anything on the docket anymore unless anybody in joint fiscal knows about it. Soon, no?
I'm sure there will be more
There will
bills
be.
coming your way. I won't hazard any guesses.
Yeah,
So,
right. Right. So dribs and drabs, we'll find out. So that's what we have for today. We're on the floor for quite a while. Looks like, according to our clerk, she has us there till 5:30. We'll see. And tomorrow's Friday, and I think we don't have anything on the calendar for tomorrow. So this is it for the week. But I have asked some of you to do some deeper dives into a few things that we're seeing in the budget. So do read those. It's committee members want to look at Grady's Christmas tree, the green and red language, which shows all the differences. I don't have it in front of me, but and the materials that we have in our committee of conference book. Where would we find? Did you send those out to everybody yesterday?
Yeah, I sent you all an email. They're all posted on our committee page, either under yesterday's date or if you go to where all the budget documents are under committee of conference.
So you can take a look at those. So if you want to look at any of the spreadsheets or, and the green and red sheet I'm talking about, the red side is the House and the green side is the Senate. And
The language.
the language part, Grady does this amazing job of creating this big sheet that of all the changes that are here and there and what's struck and all of that. So you can, that's easier than trying to look at two bills. He did that for us. So thank you, Grady. So that's what I've got, and we'll all be around. We are not, the committee of conferences at this point, not scheduled this week. We'll schedule a time next week. And as soon as we've figured that out, we'll let you all know.
The capital bill coming about same time.
Yes, the capital bill, let's see, so the T bill got passed out of, it's getting passed out of Senate appropriations today, the transportation bill. Capital bill will probably be next week. And that's got to tie into the budget too, so that there would be things changed as we need to for that as well. I don't think there were huge changes, but I think there were some changes that they're going to have a committee of conference actually, is what I heard from Chair Evans.
Those are gonna have to mesh.
Yeah. So that's why we have joint fiscal figure all this out for us.